Welcome to Zootopia 2021. I'm Latoya Edwards, here with my friend and colleague, Matt Noyes, and we're delighted to be here on behalf of the zoos tonight. Thank you for joining us to celebrate Zoo New England's Franklin Park and Stone Zoos. You are what makes Zootopia so special this year and every year.
You know, a year and a half ago, none of us could have ever imagined a virtual Zootopia, but we're now back with our second virtual event. Usually more than 400 of us are together in person to celebrate all that makes our zoos special. But tonight, I'm so happy that through the wonders of technology, we can once again have an even bigger family coming together to support Zoo New England.
Tonight, we will all hear about the incredible mission-driven work that is happening each and every day at Franklin Park and Stone Zoos. This work not only makes a difference on behalf of wildlife and habitats, but it also enriches all of our lives by connecting each of us to the wonders of the natural world. Later this evening, we will also get to hear from our E.O. Wilson Living the Mission Award honoree, Dr. Jane Goodall. Dr. Goodall has dedicated her life to species conservation while also raising awareness about the interconnectedness of the lives of people, animals, and the environment. She is a compassionate conservation advocate who believes in the collective power of our individual action to save the natural world we all share. I can't wait to hear what she has to say.
Oh, I'm also looking forward to Dr. Goodall's remarks. But first, let's learn about how Zoo New England has been keeping our world wild.
Zoo New England acts not only locally here in Massachusetts, but also globally. We support currently about 10 different projects around the world. Among the projects that we currently support and which our staff are actively involved with are a project to help preserve the rarest subspecies of gorilla, the Cross River gorilla in Nigeria. We work to help protect Baird's tapirs in Costa Rica. We protect snow leopards in Mongolia. Our field conservation department works with a variety of rare animal and plant species here in Massachusetts. We work with several rare turtle species. We work with the bridal shiner, a small freshwater fish, and the three-spine stickleback, a rare freshwater population of which lives right near the zoo here. We work with a couple of species of rare amphibians, including the eastern spadefoot toad, the rarest frog in Massachusetts. We also work with the rarest salamander in Massachusetts, the threatened marbled salamander. We have now brought marbled salamanders back to a place right near the Stone Zoo where they haven't been since the 1930s. One aspect of our turtle conservation work that's really critical is helping raise baby turtles. And then when we release them 9 months later, they're much better able to protect themselves from predators. We need the help of local communities to do that, and we overwhelmingly turn to schools. Typically, we have about 3,500 students. I find that that's one of the most impactful things really that we do. Not only is it having a really important conservation impact, but we have a tremendous impact, I think, on the children that we work with. We're also empowering them so that they know that they have a role and that they can make a difference, both as kids and when they grow up, in the environmental and ecosystem health of their community.
I've been a zoo teen here with Franklin Park Zoo's Zoo Teen program for 3 previous summers. I wanted to become a field conservation tech because working in field conservation specifically was an area of animal work that I hadn't really touched on yet, but it had always been an interest to me. My favorite part of the workday when I'm in the field is that excitement when you finally get to find a turtle. Once you've done all that hard work and you finally find the turtle, it's awesome. I've been learning about different turtles and amphibians that are here in our local parks right here in Boston that are endangered. As somebody who lives here in Boston, I didn't necessarily know about that until I've worked with people who are very passionate about this cause. I think that it is very important for these teen programs to be at a location like this at Franklin Park Zoo here in Dorchester because it's so close to so many kids in the community, and it gives them the opportunity to experience different types of wildlife, different wildlife that they may not get the chance to see.
On behalf of the entire Zoo New England family, I hope you and your families are continuing to stay healthy and well. Throughout the past year, we've had to make adaptations to how we work and how we stay connected. Zootopia is yet another example, as this is our second virtual Zootopia. A year ago, there was so much uncertainty and previously unimaginable challenges that we would all face. But with challenge, there is also great opportunity. Thanks to our incredible staff, our passionate supporters, and engaged partners, we embrace the opportunity to reimagine our programming and how we present it. to develop new ways for guests to safely experience the zoos and to continue to fulfill the important mission of saving species from extinction. We're so deeply committed to preserving the biodiversity of the planet and to providing moments of awe and wonder that touch people's hearts and minds. Throughout it all, your support has meant the world to us. And it continues to be more important now than ever before. I would like to give special recognition to our Zootopia presenting sponsor, Bay State Financial, as well as to our media partner, NBC Boston and NECN. We're deeply appreciative of their support. We're thrilled to be honoring Dr. Jane Goodall with the E.O. Wilson Living the Mission Award. In tonight's program, you'll hear from both Dr. Wilson and Dr. Goodall. Care is at the heart of everything we do. Care for our animals, care for our community, care for the world we all inhabit, and care for our shared future together. Last spring, we welcomed 6 young Mexican gray wolf brothers to Stone Zoo. We've long been committed to the conservation of this endangered species and to the recovery efforts for these wolves that are starting to really make a difference in the wild population. This fall, we welcomed several new faces at Franklin Park Zoo with the births of beard-tapered twins, a western lowland gorilla, a pygmy hippo, a de Brazos monkey, and the hatching of our first kiwi. Each of these new arrivals is a beacon of hope for the continued species survival. Although we have not been able to provide the in-person educational programming that we have in the past, we brought the classroom right into people's living rooms through a wide range of virtual programming. And our impactful conservation work on behalf of rare and threatened species right here in eastern Massachusetts, as well as abroad, continues to have great success. Zoo New England's Franklin Park Zoo and Stone Zoos have experienced incredible growth in recent years, marked by engaging new experiences. When we safely reopened our zoos with new health and safety measures in place, it warmed our hearts to see the joy and the excitement from guests who were so appreciative of the opportunity to once again visit and discover amazing wildlife. These opportunities to provide excitement, fun, and inspiration are accelerating in coming days and months. Through Labor Day, guests at Stone Zoo can experience colossal creatures of the past at T-Rex Adventure, featuring amazing life-size animatronic dinosaurs. The incredibly popular Boston Lights, a lantern experience, will return to Franklin Park Zoo in July. And I'm thrilled to share that we will also be opening up brand new outdoor gorilla habitat this summer, which has been made possible by generous donors. Uniquely, this will feature a central observation post where guests will be fully immersed within the gorilla's habitat. The entire experience will be enriching for gorillas as well as for our guests. I continue to have great optimism for the future, especially as I've seen time and again the profound impact that the zoo experience can have in shaping the hearts and minds of people of all ages. Please give generously tonight. On behalf of the animals and the entire Zoo New England team, thank you.
John and his team are doing fantastic work and truly making a difference on behalf of wildlife and conservation. Franklin Park Zoo and Stone Zoo are vital assets to Greater Boston and beyond. I know firsthand, I was just there with my family. Not only do you have the opportunity to see amazing wildlife, but observing the animals and learning about the challenges they face in the wild can touch your heart and inspire caring and action to keep our world wild for generations to come. Now, of course, all of this work begins by caring for the more than 1,500 animals that live at Franklin Park and Stone Zoos. Last fall, several new faces joined the Zoo New England family following the births of beard-tapered twins, a pygmy hippo, a western lowland gorilla, and a de Brazos monkey. Each birth required careful planning and preparation. It was an extraordinary team effort that highlights the passion and dedication of the entire zoo team. Let's now meet some of the youngest members of the zoo family.
The fall of 2020 was very exciting and very busy here at the Tropical Forest. Within the span of 16 days, we saw the birth of the first ever beard-tapered twins, a pygmy hippopotamus and a western lowland gorilla. We knew from monitoring with ultrasounds that Abby, our Baird's tapir, was having twins. That's really exciting because it's never been documented before in that species. The day after the twins were born, they had to be brought right away to the intensive care unit at Tufts because they needed around-the-clock intensive care. Sadly, the male could not overcome his challenges, and he did pass away. But the female recovered very well. She's back here with mom and been thriving ever since. Kiki has in the past delivered 4 healthy babies with no trouble and no help needed from us. So it was a surprise to us when only days away from her due date that it became clear she was going to need interventionary care very quickly. We were able to have an incredible team here from Brigham and Women's Hospital within 24 hours to help us with the first cesarean section in a gorilla that we'd ever performed here. It was such a relief and so incredible to see little Pablo being delivered during that surgery. Cleopatra, our female pygmy hippopotamus, had had 2 stillborn deliveries prior to Ptolemy. So when we knew that she was pregnant with Ptolemy, that we were going to have to plan differently. And we planned for an induction after about 30 minutes of manual delivery. I had him in my hands just like this, where he was looking at me and I was looking at him. I was amazed by how bright he was, how vital and strong he was, and it was just one of the most thrilling moments in my veterinary career.
So many of us have slept in a zoo day after day, looking into one baby, making sure that Ptolemy is sleeping sound, then having to run and prep formula for Millie at 3 in the morning and still be ready to tackle a normal work day in a couple of hours. There was really no rest for this team to try to face all these challenges in such short sequence for not one baby and mom, but for 3. Sometimes we think it's good luck or it's a miracle, but it's really down to a ton of expertise, a lot of skill, a lot of hours, and just sheer passion and determination and dedication that this team had to put into to make sure that we are where we are today.
Pablo is starting to crawl around. Kiki's even letting her 2 daughters babysit for him a lot more. Millie is just growing like a weed. She is losing her stripes, which is a little sad for us, but she's just growing up to be a very independent and sassy young lady. Ptolemy is growing fast too. He's gained a ton of weight and he's also eating almost like an adult hippo at this point. And he's really enjoying the things that hippos do, like swimming in deeper water. Making sure that these animals are taken care of to the best of our ability is our #1 job, but it makes it meaningful when we can pass that love and passion for conservation and the natural world on to more people.
I would now like to introduce Dr. E.O. Wilson, who will present this evening's Living the Mission Award. Dr. Wilson is a true pioneer in his field and shares the zoo's deep commitment to the preservation of biodiversity. Known as the father of biodiversity, he has dedicated his life to better understanding, protecting, and educating about the incredible biodiversity found across the globe. The award is named in his honor.
Greetings. In her classic work on chimpanzee social behavior, Jane Goodall has also made many contributions to parallel behaviors in human societies. She's been able to show us not only how those societies work, but also what are the best steps to take to preserve and keep healthy animal populations. And then perhaps take that information and apply it to our own conflict-weary societies.
Hello, this is Jane Goodall. And first of all, let me say what an honor it is for me to have been chosen by Zoo New England to receive this prestigious prize, a prize named for one of the great scientists of our times. I have to say there are some zoos from which I wouldn't have accepted a prize on ethical grounds, but obviously I've got no such qualms here. Both Franklin Park and Stone zoos have been independently accredited by the AZA, the toughest standards for zoos. So congratulations to you, John Linan, and all the staff. It would have been lovely to receive this prize in person, but in these bizarre times, everything's changed. For over a year now, since the start of the pandemic and lockdowns, I've been grounded in the UK and spending hours each day doing Zooms and Skypes and podcasts and interviews and video messages and writing things. In other words, I've become a virtual Jane. It's the virtual Jane that you have today. One of the things that's been highlighted by this pandemic is the fact that we brought it on ourselves to a great extent. How, by our disrespect of animals and the natural world, we've created conditions that make it much easier for pathogens to spill over from an animal to a person and create a new zoonotic disease, such as COVID-19. We destroy animal habitats and move ever deeper into remaining ones, building roads and dams, logging and mining, and because of ever-growing human populations needing more land for themselves and their livestock. And this forces some animals into closer contact with humans. We hunt animals, kill them, and traffic them or their body parts around the world to sell for food and medicine, sell their skins, sell them as exotic pets. And in the wildlife markets where this is happening, the conditions are typically not only cruel, but very unhygienic. And we subject billions of domestic animals to the unspeakable conditions of our cruel and also usually unhygienic factory farms. And of course, animals can and do pass pathogens from one species to another, from wild animals to domestic ones. And all these animals, wild and domestic, are individuals with personalities and emotions. Some are amazingly intelligent. All feel fear, despair, and pain. Because some 75% of all new human diseases originate from animals, the importance of what's known as the One Health approach is clear. Wild animals, domestic animals, people, and the environment must all be healthy, for everything is interconnected. Finally, conservation has realized this and begun to understand the importance of monitoring the health of animals and plants that make up an ecosystem, and also the health of the people living in or around wildlife habitats. And I know Zoo New England is committed to this One Health approach and has active programs in Madagascar and in Nigeria, working to improve the lives of local people whilst protecting forests and wildlife and monitoring the health of all. These programs are similar to JGI's Takari program that started in 1991 when I flew over the tiny Gombe National Park. In 1960, when I began the research there, Gombe was part of the equatorial forest belt that stretched right over to the west coast. When I flew over in 1990, I was horrified to look down on a tiny island of forest surrounded by completely bare hills, more people living there than the land could support. Their farmland was overused and infertile, and so they were cutting down the trees in order to grow more food to feed themselves and their families or to make some money from charcoal. That's when it hit me that unless we help them to find ways of making a livelihood other than by destroying their environment, we couldn't save chimpanzees, forests, or anything else. So our program is very holistic. There isn't time to go into it here, but it's been very successful, and it's now operating in 104 villages throughout almost all of the remaining chimpanzee habitat in Tanzania. And it's also in 6 other countries. The best thing to come out of it is that because the people are now able to start their own small businesses which are environmentally sustainable, like getting a few chickens and selling the eggs, or planting seedlings and selling them for reforesting efforts and so on. Because of this, they now understand that protecting the environment is for their own future. They need it for clean air, clean water, to mitigate the climate and the rainfall. It's not just for wildlife. So they've become our partners in conservation. And, well, until the pandemic, I was traveling some 300 days a year around the world, raising awareness about the disrespect of the environment and animals that led not only to COVID-19, but also to far greater threats to our future, and that's climate change and loss of biodiversity. More and more people understand this, and so often they're absolutely overwhelmed by all the bad news, and they become depressed and apathetic and so do nothing. So it's really important to share all the good news stories. I've met so many wonderful people doing amazing and super successful projects. Nature is so resilient if we give her a chance. Places that we've totally devastated can once again become healthy habitats if they're given time and perhaps some help. And animal and plant species on the brink of extinction can be given another chance. For one thing, there's no bare hills around Gombe anymore. The good zoos, such as Zoo New England, are playing an important role in this respect, raising money for conservation, veterinarians sharing the expertise they gain in caring for their animals, and helping those working in the field. And the zoos have also developed good education projects for youth. It's the young people who give me the most hope. I began Roots and Shoots in 1991 with 12 high school students in Tanzania who were worried about different things like poaching in their national parks, governments weren't doing enough to prosecute, illegal dynamite fishing, destroying the coral reefs, bad treatment of animals in the market, and street children with no homes. And Roots and Shoots now has members from kindergarten through university, and the main message is that every individual makes an impact every day. That's a message for all of us, and we get to choose what sort of impact we make. So every Roots and Shoots group chooses 3 projects, one for animals, one for people, one for the environment, because we're all interconnected. We partner with many other youth groups with similar values, and maybe this can lead to collaboration between Roots and Shoots and New England Zoo. It's amazing. These young people are changing the world. And once they understand the problem and we empower them to take action, because Roots and Shoots is all about taking action, then we can look forward to a better future for the planet and for our own great-great-grandchildren. Finally, let me once again thank you so much for choosing me to receive this prize, a prize that I greatly value. I look forward in the future, when travel becomes possible again, perhaps to come and visit some of your animals and meet their caretakers. Thank you and goodbye.
Wow, what an incredible honor to hear from Dr. Goodall. We've had the pleasure of working with Zoo New England for many years, and through our partnership, we've learned so much about the work that happens each day to positively impact our world. The staff lives and breathes this work, and it's truly a labor of love. Together, we can each make a difference for the animals we all know and love and ensure a healthy, thriving planet rich in biodiversity for generations to come.
Warm thanks go out to our wonderful Zootopia committee members, board members, AE events, and all of the zoo staff who planned this terrific evening. Thank you all again. We could not have done this without you.
By visiting the zoo, you are helping to save animals in the wild.
What I would want our guests to know about conservation is how easy it is.
No action is too small to take.
If you just kind of work on one small thing, conserving energy, reducing your plastic waste,
putting in a pollinator garden, putting up birdhouses.
You can donate to the causes that you're passionate about.
Zoo New England's involved with so many conservation projects here, but also globally.
You're not just supporting the animals that are in our care, you're supporting both local and global conservation efforts.
Zoos and aquariums are incredibly important conservation organizations, and supporting them supports conservation.
Since working here at the zoo, I've learned how much everybody here in Boston loves their zoo.
cruise. I've learned about so many different species of animals.
What hospitality is all about, what love and friendship is all about, meeting and greeting people.
What I love about being a part of the Teen Ambassador program is how much I've learned and all the knowledge I've gained, having connections and meeting new people.
I've made such great friends here.
There's so much about the zoo that inspires me.
It's inspiring to work in a place that is constantly updating itself and is ever changing.
I love the animals, I love the people.
All the varieties of exotic animals I get to see every day.
They have some of the greatest coworkers around.
The one-on-one time that we get with the animals each and every day.
When I see that our guests are enjoying the zoo so much and learning about conservation.
Every day we get to educate people.
I love talking to guests and educating them all about my favorite animals.
You get to go home at the end of each day knowing that you made a difference in the world.
The opportunity to provide medical care for such a diverse collection of some of the world's most beautiful and endangered animals is a true privilege.
One of the things that inspires me is seeing everybody working together. We are one big Zoo New England family, and we're so happy to have you here supporting us.
Thank you for helping to keep our world wild.